Ethan Cross sat alone inside his old cargo ship, the Starlight Echo. Space stretched around him like an endless black sea, silent and cold. The hum of his ship was the only sound. He was used to the silence. Salvage work was always lonely, but tonight something felt different. On his scanner, a faint signal appeared. Weak, broken, almost gone. Ethan frowned and leaned closer. The signal was strange. It did not sound like normal distress codes. It sounded like a voice whispering through static. "Help, clean." Ethan froze. He thought maybe it was his imagination. But then the signal came again, stronger this time. "Human, help, wash me." He had heard many distress calls before, but never one like this. A chill moved down his spine. Who or what was asking to be cleaned? He checked the coordinates. The signal came from a dead zone, a place no one visited. There was only an old alien station out there, abandoned for centuries. Most salvagers stayed far away. Rumors said the station was cursed. Ships that went too close never returned. Ethan knew the smart choice was to ignore the signal, but something inside him pulled him forward. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was loneliness. Or maybe it was something he could not explain. He pressed the thrusters and changed course. The Starlight Echo moved slowly toward the broken shadow of the alien station. It hung in space like a giant skeleton. Broken metal arms stretching out in silence. Whole sections were dark, torn apart by time and war. Ethan whispered to himself, "What am I doing here?" As he came closer, the signal grew clearer. It was still broken, still strange, but now the words were easier to hear. "Spray, down, human, please." The voice was soft, almost beautiful, but full of pain. Ethan shook his head. This was madness, but he could not turn away. He guided his ship into a docking bay that barely looked stable. Rust covered the walls and pieces of metal floated in the vacuum. With a hiss of air, the cargo ship locked onto the station. The door opened with a slow groan, and Ethan stepped inside with his helmet light shining. Dust floated in the air like old ghosts. The walls were covered with alien symbols, faded and broken. The station was silent except for the echo of his boots. "Hello?" Ethan called. His voice bounced off the walls, sounding small in the huge empty space. No answer came, only the faint whisper in his comms. "Help, clean me," and the sound pulled him deeper into the station. Every corridor felt colder than the last. Broken machines lay on the floor, shattered like bones. Strange shadows moved in the corners, but when he turned his light, there was nothing there. Finally, after many turns, Ethan reached a chamber. The air felt heavy, almost alive. In the center stood a large crystal pod. It was covered in layers of dust, dirt, and strange crystal growths. The pod pulsed faintly like a weak heartbeat. Ethan stepped closer, his breath fogging inside the helmet. He wiped at the glass with his glove. Under the dirt, he saw movement, a face, a woman's face, alien but strangely beautiful. Her eyes were closed, her skin glowing faintly under the grime. Long hair floated around her, tangled and dirty, but shining like silver under the light. Ethan staggered back. She was alive. Then her eyes opened. They glowed with a pale blue fire. Her lips moved slowly, as if every word cost her strength. "Human, spray me, down." Ethan's heart pounded. This was impossible. She should not be alive after centuries in this place. He looked around the chamber. Strange machines stood against the walls, dead and silent. The woman pressed her hand weakly against the inside of the pod. The dirt and crystals clung to her skin, covering strange patterns glowing beneath. "Clean me," she whispered again, her voice echoing in his head. Ethan did not know what to do. His mind screamed at him to run, to leave this cursed place behind. But his feet stayed frozen. His eyes locked on hers. For a moment, the whole station seemed to breathe with her words. The walls creaked and distant echoes rolled through the halls. It felt as if the entire station was watching him. He swallowed hard. "What are you?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Your only chance, and your doom." Before Ethan could move, the lights of the chamber flickered on. The machines around him woke with a low hum. The ground trembled. The signal on his comms grew loud, no longer broken, no longer faint. Her voice filled the room now, soft but commanding. "Spray me down, human, or we both will die." Ethan stood frozen in front of the pod. He did not know if he had found a prisoner, a goddess, or a monster. But one thing was clear, his life would never be the same again. Ethan's hand trembled as he lowered his helmet lamp. The alien woman inside the pod pressed her weak palm against the glass again. Her eyes glowed brighter now, Two pale blue flames in the dark chamber. He whispered to himself, "This can't be real." The grime covering the pod looked centuries old. Layers of dust, ash, and crystal-like growths sealed her inside. Yet she breathed. Slowly, weakly, but she breathed. Every faint exhale fogged the inside of the glass. "Spray me down," her voice whispered. Not from the comms this time, but inside his head. Ethan staggered back, bumping into a broken console. Sparks jumped, and for a moment the room flashed red. The alien symbols carved into the walls seemed to pulse like living veins. The pod shook slightly, as though the woman was trapped inside something that resisted her. She pressed her hand harder against the glass. Dirt crumbled away where her palm touched, revealing glowing lines beneath her skin, runes, strange markings that shimmered like tiny stars. Ethan felt his throat go dry. He looked at the cleaning canister strapped to his belt. Just a normal salvager's spray, meant to clear rust and debris off machines. Could this be what she wanted? The woman's lips moved again. "Human, please, spray me down, or the station wakes." Her words made no sense, but the way she said them, it felt like a warning. Ethan glanced at the shadows moving in the corners of the room. He swore he saw shapes crawling along the walls, but when he blinked, they were gone. The air grew colder. With shaking hands, he raised the canister. He aimed at the pod and sprayed. At first, nothing happened. The mist hissed against the glass, washing away a layer of grime. Then the pod shivered, releasing a faint hum. The woman's runes lit brighter, glowing lines flowing across her arm like rivers of light. Her eyes flickered with sudden strength. "Yes," she whispered. Again, Ethan sprayed more. Dirt peeled off the pod in streams, falling like black snow. The hum grew louder and the alien chamber began to respond. Lights that had been dead for centuries flickered awake. Machines along the walls twitched as if remembering old commands. Ethan's heart raced. He wiped his visor with his glove. Every rune he uncovered seemed to bring the station back to life. The alien woman leaned her head back, closing her eyes. A soft glow spread across her body under the grime. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her ears curved to delicate points. Her hair shimmered with silver strands, and her skin glowed faintly like moonlight. Ethan could not look away. She was beautiful, but not in a human way. She was terrifying, fragile, and dangerous all at once. Then she spoke again, stronger this time. "Do not stop. If you stop, the Guardians will wake." "Guardians?" Ethan whispered, but she did not answer. Her eyes were closed now, her lips parting only to breathe. Ethan kept spraying, clearing another section of the pod. More runes appeared across her chest and shoulders, glowing brighter and brighter. Each symbol felt ancient, older than any language he had ever seen. The ground trembled beneath his boots. A distant roar echoed through the station. Metal groaned as if the walls themselves were alive. Ethan stopped spraying. He turned his head, listening. Silence. Then, movement. A shadow stretched across the chamber wall. It was not his. It was long, spindly, and wrong. The alien woman's eyes shot open. She hissed in his mind louder than before. "Do not stop, human. Spray me down or they will take you." Ethan's hand shook as he raised the canister again. He sprayed hard, faster this time, clearing layers of dirt. The pod glowed like a lantern in the dark. The shadow on the wall twitched. Then another appeared. Shapes moved just beyond the light. Tall, insect-like figures with long arms and eyes that glowed faint red. Their bodies looked half machine, half corpse, as if the station itself had grown monsters from its bones. Ethan's breath caught. "What are those things?" The woman's voice entered his head again, sharp and urgent. "Guardians. They are not alive, but they hunt. They guard me until I am washed. Only then can I fight them." One of the shadows moved closer, its claws dragging sparks across the wall. The chamber trembled again, dust raining down from above. Ethan's instincts screamed at him to run, but the alien woman's eyes pinned him in place. He felt as if she were holding him there with invisible chains. Her voice softened, almost kind. "Trust me, human. Clean me, free me, and I will protect you." Ethan clenched his jaw. He had no reason to trust her, but he had even less reason to trust the creatures in the shadows. He sprayed harder, covering the pod with mist, clearing away years of grime. The runes burned brighter, flooding the room with blue light. The Guardians hissed, their red eyes flaring as they stepped back from the glow. The alien woman pressed her hand to the glass once more, stronger now. Her glowing eyes locked on Ethan's. "You are close," she whispered. "Just a little more and I will wake. Do not fail me." Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. His heart pounded in his ears. The guardians hissed and scraped closer, circling the edge of the light. The spray hissed again and again, clearing the last corner of the pod. The entire chamber shook. The machines on the walls roared to life. The guardians screamed, their voices like broken metal, and the woman inside the pod opened her mouth and breathed, not weak, not faint, but strong. Her voice thundered in Ethan's mind, shaking him to his core. I'm not abandoned. I am awake." The pod cracked down the center. Light burst out, blinding him. Ethan staggered back, shielding his eyes as the alien beauty finally began to rise. The pod split open with a sharp crack, and light poured out like a storm. Ethan shielded his eyes, but even through the glare he saw the alien woman rising. Dirt and crystal shards fell from her body like broken chains. She stepped forward, weak but graceful, her silver hair drifting around her like smoke. Her skin glowed faintly, covered with half-clean runes that pulsed like living fire. The guardians hissed in the shadows. Their insect-like bodies twitched, claws scraping against the walls. Red eyes glared at Ethan with hunger, or hatred. The woman's voice struck his mind like thunder, yet soft, almost soothing. "Do not fear. Keep spraying. Do not let the light fade." Ethan's hand was still clutched around the spray canister. His instincts told him to run, but his body moved the other way. He raised the canister again, mist spraying across her arm and chest. The grime hissed as it melted away. More glowing runes appeared, forming complex patterns across her shoulders. The air vibrated as though the symbols were alive. The guardians screamed. Their claws struck the floor, but when they tried to cross into the blue glow, their bodies burned with sparks. They backed away, circling, waiting. Ethan's breath came heavy. What are they waiting for? The alien woman looked at him with glowing eyes. Her lips moved slowly, but her voice entered his mind, sharp and clear. "They cannot touch me while I am being cleaned. The light of my runes is poison to them. But if you stop, even for a moment..." She did not finish. She did not need to. Ethan already understood. He kept spraying. Mist filled the chamber. More dirt dissolved, revealing more of the glowing tattoos. They were not random. They looked like maps, like the language of stars, Ethan asked, his voice shaking. "Who are you?" Her eyes softened for a moment. She whispered aloud this time, her voice rough but beautiful. "Serenia, last guardian of the Eternal Gate, betrayed, left to rot. Waiting for you, me?" Ethan asked in disbelief. He was just a salvager, nothing more, but her faint smile made his chest tighten. "Only a human could free me. Only your hands, your water, your will. That is why the signal reached you." Ethan shook his head, spraying faster. "This doesn't make sense." Serenia raised her glowing hand, pressing it against the pod's frame. The runes across her skin connected to the wall like veins. Lights blazed across the chamber. "It doesn't need to make sense," she said softly. "It only needs to be done." The guardians shrieked, angry at her strength. One slammed its claw against the invisible barrier of light, sparks flying. Another crawled across the ceiling, its red eyes locked on Ethan. He swallowed hard. "What happens if I finish?" Her gaze locked onto his. It was calm yet terrifying. "Then I will wake, and the station will bow." Ethan's spray hissed again, clearing more grime. The runes across her chest connected into one glowing pattern. The air grew heavier, filled with strange energy. His hair stood on end. His heart beat faster. The guardian screeched again, furious now. One hurled a spear-like claw toward him. Ethan ducked, the weapon shattering against the wall. Pieces of metal sprayed across the chamber. "Do not fear them," Serenia said. "They are nothing without the curse, and the curse breaks with every rune you reveal." He wanted to scream at her, "I am afraid," but he stayed silent. He kept spraying. Her body shone brighter. She looked stronger, standing taller, no longer weak. The dirt that once chained her now fell like ash at her feet. Ethan's arm ached from holding the canister, but he did not stop. Then the ground trembled violently. The entire station seemed to shake in anger. Distant roars echoed through the walls, not from the guardians, but from something deeper. Something older. Serenia's expression darkened. Her voice in his head turned sharp. "Hurry, the master will sense me soon. If I am not ready, neither of us will survive." "The master?" Ethan asked, panicked, but she said no more. He sprayed harder, sweat dripping inside his helmet. The mist hissed louder, cleaning the last of the grime from her arm. The rune lines lit up like fire. For a moment he thought he saw stars moving inside the symbols. Serenia lifted her arm, and with her strength returning, a wave of energy burst outward. The guardians screamed as blue fire cut through them. Their red eyes dimmed. Their bodies collapsed into ash. Ethan gasped. She had not even touched them, just raised her arm. She turned her glowing eyes back to him. Good, but it is not enough. Keep going, human. My power is still chained. Ethan looked down at the canister. His hands shook. The fuel gauge was dropping. He only had so much spray left, but her gaze pierced him like steel. You cannot stop now, she said. Her voice was no longer weak, no longer fragile. It was commanding, powerful, certain. Ethan lifted the canister again. The hiss filled the chamber once more. More dirt peeled away. More runes burned, Serenia whispered, almost tender now inside his mind. Do not fear. Every moment you clean me, I remember who I was, and who I will be again. The station roared once more. Lights blazed across the walls, corridors waking like veins of a giant beast. Ethan's heart hammered in his chest. He no longer knew if he was freeing a savior or unleashing a monster. But he knew one thing: he could not stop. Not now. Not when the real danger was only beginning. The chamber shook as if it were alive. The lights flickered, then steadied, glowing with a deep blue hue. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow, his spray canister nearly half empty. Serenia stood taller now, glowing runes covering her arms and shoulders like armor made of light. Her eyes burned like twin stars, but her face was calm. Too calm. Ethan's voice cracked as he spoke. What is happening to this place? Serenia tilted her head, listening as though she heard something far away. The air vibrated with a low hum like the growl of a beast stirring from sleep. They know, she whispered. Her voice carried inside his head, sharp and cold. The station feels my awakening. It calls to its master. He will come soon. Ethan's chest tightened. Master, who is this master? Serenia's gaze shifted toward the walls, where alien runes glowed faintly in response to her presence. The one who betrayed me. The one who left me here, chained and buried. If he arrives before I am fully cleansed, you will die, and I... She paused, her eyes narrowing. I will be chained again. Ethan's throat went dry. He looked at the spray canister in his trembling hand. It felt too small, too weak for what she asked. Then I need to hurry, he muttered. Serenia's lips curved into the faintest smile, but her words were harsh. Yes, but understand this. Every rune you uncover frees me, but also weakens the chains that hold the station itself. It will fight back, harder each time. As if on cue, the walls around them groaned. Long cracks spread across the metal, glowing red like molten fire. The guardians had returned. Not the same broken ones as before, but new forms rising from the cracks. Their bodies were forged of molten steel and bone, their claws sharper, their eyes blazing like coals. Ethan stepped back, fear crawling down his spine. There are more of them. Serenia lifted her hand, glowing with blue fire. She tried to push them back, but her body faltered. Her strength was not complete. The light sputtered. Her voice in his mind turned urgent. Keep spraying, human. I cannot hold them yet. Every second matters. Ethan gritted his teeth. He raised the canister and sprayed across her chest and side. The mist hissed, burning away thick layers of dirt. Beneath, new runes appeared, more complex than the others. Lines shaped like constellations. Stars connected by glowing threads. The air shifted. The guardian screamed and recoiled from the light. But the station screamed too. A deafening roar echoed through the chamber, shaking the floor under Ethan's boots. Metal pipes burst from the ceiling, spraying sparks. The entire place was alive and angry. Ethan shouted over the chaos. Why does this station feel alive? Serenia's glowing eyes locked onto his. Because it is alive. It was built not as a machine, but as a prison. Its blood is steel, its bones are fire. It is my cage, and now you are inside it too. Ethan's stomach dropped. He felt trapped, caught between a cursed living station and this alien woman who might be his only hope or his doom. Still, he did not stop. He sprayed again, clearing the dirt from her waist and legs. The runes there lit up, connecting with the others, and for a brief moment the entire room filled with light like a sky full of stars. The guardians howled, their bodies melting under the glow. But for every one that fell, another rose from the cracks. The fight was endless. Ethan's arm ached, his breaths coming heavy. He felt like he was running out of time. Serenia's voice softened suddenly, almost gentle. Do not falter, human. You think yourself weak, but your persistence is your strength. That is why you were chosen. Chosen? Ethan coughed, sweat dripping down his face. I didn't choose this. Her eyes gleamed unreadable. No, but destiny does not wait for consent. The words hit him like a stone. He wanted to argue, to scream at her, but the chamber trembled again. The red glow in the cracks brightened. A new sound filled the air, footsteps. Heavy, slow, powerful. Boom, 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 Ethan froze. Whatever was coming was larger than the Guardians. The sound shook dust from the ceiling. Serenya's expression darkened. For the first time, Ethan saw fear in her glowing eyes. Her voice cracked into his mind like a blade. It is too soon. He is here. Ethan's heart raced. Who? The warden, she whispered. My jailer. My executioner. The footsteps grew louder. From the far end of the chamber, a massive shadow appeared. It was twice the size of the Guardians. Its body made of black armor fused with living flesh. Its face was hidden behind a cracked mask, but its eyes burned with endless red fire. Ethan's breath caught. His spray canister felt like nothing now, useless against such a monster. Serenya stepped forward, weak but defiant. She raised her half-cleaned arms, her glowing runes flickering with unstable power. Keep spraying, she ordered. Her voice thundered, leaving no room for argument. I will hold him back. But if you stop, if you let fear guide you, we are both finished. The warden roared, the sound shaking Ethan to his bones. The Guardians around it joined the cry, their voices merging into a terrible chorus. Ethan's mind screamed at him to run, but his body moved instead, lifting the canister once more. The hiss of spray cut through the chaos, mist covering Serenya's glowing skin, runes burning brighter than ever. He knew this was madness. He knew he might not survive. But in that moment, standing between an alien prisoner, a cursed station, and a monster built to kill gods, Ethan made his choice. He would not stop. Not now. Not until he knew the truth. The warden's roar filled the chamber, shaking every wall, every broken machine. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The Guardians circled like wolves, their red eyes glowing brighter with each step. Ethan gripped the spray canister tighter. His arm ached, but he didn't dare lower it. The hiss of mist filled the air again as he sprayed across Serenya's side. The dirt peeled away, glowing runes blazing through like burning stars. The warden moved closer. Each step was heavy, echoing like thunder. Its body was monstrous, part machine, part corpse, part nightmare. Chains clinked from its arms, dragging against the floor with a sound like screams. Ethan muttered under his breath, I can't fight that thing. Serenya's voice cut through his mind, sharp as a blade. You do not fight. You clean. Every rune you reveal gives me strength. Trust me, human. The words hit him, but fear still pressed down like ice. The warden swung its massive clawed arm forward. The air cracked with force. Ethan dove aside, the strike smashing into the ground where he had stood. The chamber shook, dust falling in clouds. He landed hard, coughing, his helmet visor cracked at the edge. His hands shook as he scrambled back to his feet. The Guardians rushed in, screeching, thin, spidery bodies, red eyes burning. One lunged at him. Instinct took over. Ethan swung the canister like a club, striking the creature across its head. Sparks burst as the Guardian staggered back, hissing. Serenya's glowing hand lifted. A rune flared on her skin and blue fire erupted from her palm. The Guardian screeched as its body turned to ash mid-air. Her voice echoed again. Spray, Ethan. The warden grew stronger with every second I remained chained. Ethan gasped for breath. He raised the canister again, spraying across her glowing skin. The hiss was almost drowned out by the warden's roar. More grime melted, runes blazing brighter across her legs and waist. The light spread across the chamber. The Guardian screamed, recoiling. Even the warden hesitated, its red eyes narrowing as if blinded. Ethan's heart pounded. He kept spraying. His mind screamed, don't stop. The warden lunged again, its claw slamming toward Serenya. She raised her arm, runes glowing, and a shield of blue fire burst forth. The impact shook the room, sparks flying, but the shield held barely. Her voice trembled in his head, strained. Faster, human. My shield will not last. Ethan pushed himself forward, spraying faster, harder, sweat pouring down his face. His arm burned, his lungs screamed, but he didn't stop. The warden howled, enraged. With its other arm, it tore a section of the wall free and hurled it at Ethan. Ethan's eyes widened. He leapt aside just as the metal slab smashed into the ground, shattering into sparks and debris. The shockwave sent him tumbling across the floor. His canister rolled from his grip. No, he shouted, scrambling. The canister skidded across the floor, stopping inches from a guardian's clawed feet. The creature bent down, reaching for it. Ethan's chest clenched. He lunged forward, grabbing a jagged piece of metal and hurling it at the guardian. The shard pierced its head. The creature shrieked and collapsed, ash scattering. Ethan dove, rolling across the floor, snatching the canister back into his hands. Serenya's eyes blazed brighter. She whispered urgently, her voice inside him. "Do not falter. You are closer than you think." Ethan sprayed again, mist hissing against her body. The last of the dirt across her torso crumbled, revealing runes that glowed like burning constellations. They linked with the others across her arms and legs, forming a full pattern, like a map of the stars themselves. The chamber erupted with light. The guardians shrieked, their bodies bursting into flames as the runes burned brighter. They disintegrated, their red eyes winking out one by one. The warden roared, staggering back, raising its arms to block the glow. Its chains rattled violently, sparks bursting from its joints. Serenya raised her head high. Her voice was no longer weak, no longer whispering. It thundered across the chamber like a storm. "I am Serenya, last guardian of the eternal gate. No prison can hold me. No warden can break me." Her runes blazed like suns and her power pulsed outward. Ethan staggered back as the light engulfed the warden. The giant monster screamed, its body cracking, breaking. Pieces of molten armor falling away, but it did not die. Not yet. It pushed through the fire, roaring in rage, its red eyes burning with fury. Ethan's chest tightened. His canister was almost empty. The gauge blinked red. One final bar of fuel. Serenya turned to him, her glowing eyes fierce. "One last spray, human. One final rune remains. If you finish, my power will be complete." Ethan's hands shook. His mind screamed, "This is insane. I'm just a salvager. I can't finish this." But when he looked at her, standing tall, her body glowing with starlight, chains of dirt nearly gone, he knew there was no turning back. He raised the canister. His thumb pressed the trigger. The last hiss of spray filled the chamber. The final rune lit up, blazing like a newborn sun. The warden roared one last time, charging forward, and Serenya, fully awakened, stepped out of her pod and raised both arms. The runes across her body flared so bright that Ethan had to shield his eyes. The chamber exploded with light. The chamber shook as the warden fell. Its body cracked apart, pieces of molten armor crashing to the ground. Red fire poured from the gaps in its chest as it let out one last roar, then collapsed into nothing but smoke and ash. The guardians were gone. The walls no longer screamed. For the first time since Ethan entered the station, silence returned. Ethan stood frozen, breathing hard, his spray canister empty in his hand. His legs shook and sweat poured down his face. He had never been so close to death. His heart still hammered in his chest, refusing to calm. In front of him, Serenya stood free. The grime and crystal chains were gone. Every rune across her body glowed like a constellation of stars. Her silver hair flowed around her as if moved by invisible winds. She was no longer weak, no longer fragile. She was radiant, powerful, and terrifying. Her eyes burned with pale blue fire as she stepped toward him. Ethan stumbled back, gripping the empty canister like a weapon. His voice cracked. "What are you?" Serenya stopped, tilting her head, her glowing eyes narrowing. Then she smiled. It was soft, almost human, but there was something beneath it, something ancient. "I told you, human," she said. Her voice now carried through the air, not just inside his mind. It was smooth, strong, and commanding. "I am Serenya, last guardian of the eternal gate. I was betrayed by my people and left here, chained in darkness, until someone pure of will set me free." Ethan's chest tightened. "You make it sound like destiny." Serenya walked closer, each step light but powerful. The runes across her body pulsed with her heartbeat. She raised her hand, brushing her fingers across the broken remains of the pod. The machines around the chamber obeyed her touch, humming back to life. "Destiny," she whispered. "Or design. Does it matter?" "You answered the call. You sprayed away my chains. You freed me." Ethan gripped the canister tighter. "You said you'd protect me. Was that true or just a trick to make me help you?" Her smile faded. She studied him for a long moment, then sighed. "Both," she admitted. "I needed you. Without you, I would still be asleep, rotting away while the warden's masters ruled unchallenged. But I did protect you, didn't I? Without me, you would already be ash on the floor." Ethan swallowed hard. She was right. Still, unease twisted inside him. You said you were betrayed, he pressed. By who? Why did they lock you here? Serena's expression darkened. Her glowing eyes turned cold. My people feared me, she said softly, not because I was evil, because I was beautiful, because I was powerful, because they believed anyone who looked upon me would fall under my charm. Ethan frowned. They locked you away for being beautiful? Her lips curved in a bitter smile. That is the lie they told. The truth is far worse. They feared the runes. These marks are not decoration, they are keys. They unlock power older than my race. A power to control ships, stations, even the stars themselves. They feared what I could command. So they called me cursed, dangerous. Abandoned me here to die. Ethan's breath caught. He looked at the glowing patterns across her skin, constellations of energy, alive with starlight. And now, he whispered, I set you free. Serena's eyes softened, almost tender now. Yes, human. You did. For a long moment, silence hung between them. Ethan lowered the empty canister, his arm aching. He didn't know whether to feel proud or terrified. Finally, he said, So what happens now? Serena turned her gaze toward the walls. The chamber trembled as her runes connected with the station's systems. Lights flared to life across the corridors. Distant doors opened with echoes like thunder. The entire station seemed to bow before her. What happens now, she said slowly, is choice. Ethan frowned. Choice? She turned back to him, her expression unreadable. You freed me. That gives you power too. You can walk away. Leave this place. Return to your small human life, or... She stepped closer, her glowing eyes locking onto his. You can stay. Stand at my side. Command with me. Together we can shape this galaxy, rule it, or save it. Ethan's heart pounded. The air felt heavier with her words, as if the entire station leaned in, waiting for his answer. He shook his head slowly. Why me? I'm just a salvager. Nothing special. Serena's voice softened again. Because you are stubborn. Because you did not run. Because you faced fear and kept going. My people with all their power betrayed me. But you... She touched his chest lightly with glowing fingers. You freed me. Her touch sent a shiver through him like ice and fire all at once. Ethan stepped back, his mind spinning. Part of him wanted to run, to escape before this became something bigger than him. But another part, a dangerous part, felt drawn to her, to the power she offered. Before he could answer, the station rumbled again. A deep, distant echo, as if something vast stirred in the darkness beyond. Serena's smile faded. She turned toward the sound, her runes blazing brighter. It is not over, she whispered. The warden was only the first. The master will come, and when he does, your choice will matter more than you can imagine. Ethan's throat went dry. He realized the truth then. Freeing her was not the end. It was only the beginning. Serena faced him once more, her eyes glowing like fire. Decide, human, she said softly, but with the weight of eternity in her voice. Will you kneel before me, or rise beside me? The chamber lights burned bright with Serena's power. The runes across her body glowed like living stars connected to the walls, the floor, the very bones of the station. Ethan stood small in front of her, his empty spray canister dangling at his side. Her words still echoed in his mind. Will you kneel before me, or rise beside me? Ethan's throat was dry. He had no answer. Not yet, the silence pressed heavy. The station itself seemed to wait, holding its breath. Finally, Ethan spoke, his voice shaking. You say I have a choice, but it doesn't feel like one. If I walk away, I die. If I stay, I become part of something I don't understand. Serena's eyes glowed softer, but her smile was sharp. You understand more than you think. You freed me when others would have fled. You saw the danger and did not turn back. That is the only test that mattered. Her hand lifted, glowing with blue fire. She gestured toward the broken remains of the warden, now nothing but ash. This station, this prison, it is no longer my cage. It is my weapon. With me at its core, it will move again. It will fly. It will obey. And so will every machine connected to its network. That is what they feared. Ethan's chest tightened. So you're not just a prisoner. You're a commander. A weapon. Serena's smile widened, though sadness flickered in her eyes. Both, always both. Ethan looked around. The chamber was alive now, walls humming, floors vibrating faintly like the heartbeat of some great beast. He realized the entire station was no longer dead. It was waking, A deep, distant rumble shook the ground. Ethan flinched, gripping the canister like it could protect him, though it was empty. "What was that?" he asked quickly. Serenya's gaze darkened. "The master, he stirs. He feels my freedom. He will come." Ethan's stomach sank. He thought the warden had been bad enough. If there was something worse, he wasn't sure he could survive it. Serenya stepped closer, her glowing eyes piercing him. "This is why I ask you, human. Will you kneel before me and live as one of the countless servants who will soon follow? Or will you rise beside me and share my command?" Ethan's heart pounded. He whispered, "And if I say no to both?" Her expression turned unreadable. For a moment, silence filled the chamber again. Then she tilted her head, silver hair falling across her shoulder. "Then you die," she said simply. The bluntness of her words hit him like a punch. Ethan swallowed hard. He wanted to run to escape this cursed place, but he knew there was no running now. The station was alive, and he was caught inside it. The choice was real: rise beside her or kneel before her. He looked into her glowing eyes. Despite her power, there was something there, something fragile, hidden beneath the fire. She had been alone for centuries, locked in silence, chained in dirt, forgotten by her people. Maybe she didn't just want a servant. Maybe she wanted an equal. Still, fear gnawed at him. "If I stand beside you, what does that mean for humanity?" Serenya's eyes flickered with light. "It means survival. It means freedom. Or it means conquest. That choice will be yours as much as mine. Together we decide." Ethan shook his head. "You sound like you're giving me power, but I feel like I'd just be your tool." Her smile returned, faint and sharp. "Perhaps. Or perhaps I would be yours. Power is not one-sided, Ethan. It flows both ways. You cleaned me. You freed me. That makes you part of me now." The ground rumbled again, harder this time. A low roar echoed from the depths of the station, distant but growing closer. Serenya's face hardened. "He comes. The master. I cannot face him alone, not yet. Decide, human. Stand beside me and fight, or kneel and watch as I burn everything that stands in my way." Ethan's chest rose and fell in quick breaths. His hands trembled. He looked at her, then at the trembling walls, then at the cracked remains of the warden. He felt like a mouse standing before a god. But he also felt something else. Deep in his chest, beneath the fear, was a spark, a stubbornness that had carried him this far. He raised his head, meeting Serenya's blazing eyes. "I don't kneel." For a moment's silence. Then her smile widened, not cruel, not mocking, but proud. "Good," she whispered. "Then rise." She raised her glowing hand, and the runes across her body flared brighter. The chamber shook as the floor shifted. The walls split apart, revealing windows to the stars outside. The station itself was moving. Slowly, with groaning echoes, it rose from its centuries of sleep. Engines the size of mountains burned to life, flooding the dark with blue fire. Ethan staggered, gripping a railing as the entire world around him came alive. Serenya stood tall in the center, her runes glowing, her eyes brighter than ever. Her voice filled the chamber, filled his mind, filled the very air. "We rise together, human, and the galaxy will never forget this moment." But even as her words echoed, the darkness beyond the stars stirred. A vast shadow moved in the distance, larger than any ship, older than any station. The master was coming. Ethan's heart pounded. His choice was made. But what it meant, whether it was salvation or doom, he did not yet know. And the galaxy itself was about to find out.